Cool. So I was telling, let me see, what's the chat? Okay, yeah, no problem. Good to see you all. I was just catching up because it has been a little while, and maybe it's helpful to know what's going on. And maybe you already know if you go to the classes, but who knows? For those who want to study Sanskrit, Christina Kasika just yesterday and one day before, she started the series sessions again. If you have the time, if you are interested, you can join her. She has sessions every week. And I'm just a little bit with this throat irritation, but I'm good. I don't feel sick. This is the party I was telling you about. This is the biggest, the most upcoming big event I know about. Is gonna happen in Rimrock, Arizona. For those who want to go live, Lindsay says she's taking reservations. You can go. Just let her know. If you don't know how to contact her, let me know. I help you. If not, the same link, the usual link we use for translation classes with Geshe, it's gonna be the same, and it's also on Monday. So the schedule is very similar. And if you go live, there is gonna be a dinner party afterwards. I think it's gonna be very fun. Now the good opportunity is that for those who go live, then you can just stay 2 more days, and then Bhagavad Gita YSI program is going to start there as well. Not in Dragon's Head, but in the college, Sedona College, which is only like 20 minutes drive difference. So prepare for Chinese New Year. This is the program, Bhagavad Gita, that's gonna come after mid-February. But this is if you want to watch, this QR code is a recording. If you want to watch the preparation class they just had. I haven't watched, but probably I should. Then I can talk more about it more accurately. And if you want to sign up, these are the codes: English, Vietnamese, Chinese. If you need other languages, let us know. We'll help you. And if you want to sign up for the Good Night Book Club, Lindsay's sharing this poster. Then you get the books, and you can sign up for the daily mailing list. Is Geshe sends emails every day, pretty much every day. Sometimes not, but almost every day. And he updates us also with some news. Yesterday, he shared about this picture. This is Dragon's Head. The fountain is not there yet, but you see there the venue with the crystals and all that, and the forest and the tree. That is already there. And here, instead of a fountain, right now it's just like how to say, a hole in the ground. And this is some example of what they want to do. They want to build a fountain. This is made with AI, and he was talking about the possibility of this design. It's super beautiful, really, really amazing place. Very big area, and it has a river. You can swim in the river. Super beautiful Dragon's Head. I hope one day people can come. Pretty much that's it. There are other events, but I don't know if this is the time. If you want to go to Japan, teacher John Brady, teacher Connie, Sophie Chow, they're about to start in 2 weeks. Ina and Bill having their event also in about 2 weeks about the stages of meditation in Chicago. Instagram, I know somebody told me that QR code is not working. I need to check on that. But just look for them on Instagram if you want 5 houses. And of course, the event in Diamond Mountain. Now only camping available. I tried yesterday and they say only camping. And I say, yes, sure. I like camping, so it's fine. And for those who want, there is also the one that Jasmine organizes in Kuala Lumpur. So you can go to Diamond Mountain, you can go online, or you can go to Kuala Lumpur, Indonesia. And there's going to be a 1-month retreat. I don't know, maybe I have the chance to take this retreat. I need to talk to my bosses and see if I can do or if I should do this one. And then I'll keep you posted. I hope this helps to catch up with what's going on. Tomorrow we have translation class, and I think now we can go to Pramana sessions. Yay, thank you. Mm, here in Guadalajara, it's just the sun is rising. Still a little dark, but almost not dark. And yeah, I suggest we take a moment. Sometimes I don't know if it happens to you, but for me, sometimes I get myself into automatic pilot, and then I it's like not that I forget, but I just not so aware of why am I doing things. And I think it's nice to time remember why are we doing this, and maybe not even only this Pramana session, but the way we are using our time and our life, um, the projects we are trying to develop, our resources in general, of course, including time, because really, how say, Geshe always says that how time is super precious and super valuable, probably the most valuable thing we have in a way. I think sometimes he has say our mind as well, but the most valuable resource maybe. And it's true. It's true. It's very impressive to see how you just sometimes get with so many, 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 many things, and you have to decide what to gonna use the time for. So let's take a moment and be grateful that we're really trying to use our time and our lives well. And it may be a process. I also need to develop more time skill management, more time management skills. But here we are, and we are trying, and hope all these activities help us and help others. So maybe just take a moment and reflect on how we are using our days, our daily life, and set up our motivation. May this really help us and others as well to be able to see a beautiful reality, beautiful existence. It was funny for me the other day, some friends were telling about general, I will say almost like human problems that can seem almost impossible to fix, but they are real and people feel sad or feel or suffer from them. And some of them is just like how, in a way, almost like humans work. I don't know. Sometimes we treat others because we treat others better just because, I don't know. Oh, they are more whatever. Like, in situations like discrimination, oh, because this person is different social class or it's dressing different, we treat them better, we treat them worse. Some people feel bad because they were born in a different social status, things like that. And then I was worried and I say, well, we have to fix that, but I don't know how. And one of my friends says, no, yeah, you know how, because she's one of my friends who also study the Dharma. And then I goes, yeah, well, I guess yes, but you know, so it's hopeful that we have a system, we have a path, we have an alternative. Sometimes it doesn't seem so clear exactly what and how to do it, but at least there is like a general system to fix even those things that seems very difficult to fix. But let's try. Let's keep going. Let's really believe that we can really change things in reality, even if they seem difficult and very impossible. But no, we study the pen, and if we really understand the pen, we develop faith, which is very interesting. Is developing faith through logic. That's something that I really like, and that's something that Adam also is very good at. He can find the connection between logic and faith, faith and logic, which is one of the functions of Pramana topics, to really make us see things that are hidden to the regular day-to-day untrained perception. And it has happened to me many times. Sometimes I really come into doubt about the system in general. But what I have done that helps me is to do a regression step by step, like, okay, what do I have doubt about this? Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. Let's grab a pen. Let's see if it's true what the most fundamental teaching says. And then you start digging and digging and digging, and then you come up with it's true. It's really true. It's very difficult to insert that belief as a instinct in our minds. But if you use logic, it is very true. We are seeing things that are not coming at us. We are seeing things that are coming from us. And then, the schools have different levels as well. And we can build up true levels as well, because sometimes to me, it's easier to understand this idea of labels, for example. It's more difficult to understand this idea of even atoms and physical particles are coming into existence because my seeds. But then still you can dig deeper, and you find proofs that it could pretty much be the case. Now, of course, we will keep having subtle doubts until we see emptiness directly. That's what we're trying to do. Yay, okay, that was my motivation cash up. Now, I want to share with you because in general, what we're doing here is following, yes, general Pramana topics, but as our main guideline, usually we use a Door to Emptiness book. So I thought it would be really good. Why not to start reading a little bit? And during sessions, we can go on, and then we eventually will have a good chunk of the introduction read. It's long, it's very long, but it's very good. So let me find for you. Da, da, da. Here. Share. Can you see the reading? Okay. So maybe just the first, what is it, 2 pages? Maybe 3 if you feel brave. So yeah, this is pretty much opening the opening lines for this book. I think Geshe and Adam Andrade both together wrote these verses, these paragraphs as an introduction. And I like it very much. When Geshe started getting us ready for this book and presentation, he did talk about all these topics. So it helps to understand what are we doing and why are we doing it in these sessions. So it's funny, right? How he started like, okay, what exactly is the diamond world? Why this book is the door? Why the door? Meaning this book is the door, and actually meaning to emptiness, to the diamond world. Okay. Geshe Michael, if anybody wants to read, please just raise your hand and we can make it more interactive. And remember also, the invitation is always open. If anyone wants to talk about themselves, about how they live their daily life, what do they do, what do they like, that's really good. It helps us to build a group sense of community. So yeah, when you want to present yourself, you can talk. Geshe Michael likes to tell the story of how he first met the extraordinary book in front of you right now. It was handed to him by a dying master, a high Geshe from Inner Mongolia, who had taught him for many years. In those last breaths, the Geshe said that this book was the key to the door to emptiness. Now, I asked Geshe-la about the name of this Geshe, and he gave it to me, and I wrote it somewhere, and I need to find it. So next class, I'll tell you the name of this Geshe, because I think that's interesting and important. But yeah, Geshe-la, many of you may be familiar. Geshe-la tells this story often, quite often. The full technical title of this work, in case you want to know, in case somebody asks you, I don't know, it's Fulfilling the Hopes of the Fortunate, a necklace for the wise, a great explanation which is designed for all three types of people, those of highest, medium, and lesser capacity, and which wraps into it the meaning of the commentary on accurate perception, that great classical work which itself comments upon the true intent of the teachings on accurate perception. So that's the title. The text is so detailed that the entire 600-page volume you see here, the one we're reading right now, it's only about 1/4 of the entire work. That's why Adam is working on 4 books, but in truth, it's only 1 book. And we intend to complete the translation in a total of 4 volumes. Yeah. Each volume will have its own title, and this first one then is A Door to Emptiness, the crucial teachings for touching the diamond world. Now Adam is working on the second book. We just had a session with him last week, and the second book I think is calling Destroying the Darkness. But this one is A Door to Emptiness. Okay. The promise of these ancient books for more than 2,000 years is that there exists, in tandem with the world we know, an invisible higher world going on around us all the time. We can call it the diamond world, but a simpler and easily misunderstood name is emptiness. The idea is that if we can make contact with this higher world, if we can touch it directly, then that touching sets into motion unstoppable, wonderful changes in our being. The touching sets off a transformation in the flesh of our very body itself, sort of a wonderful cancer which inexorably spreads through our entire being and changes it into living diamond. Eternal and infinite beauty and wisdom. Yay! So let's do it. We could call it paradise, a paradise available to every living being in the universe, where we live together into all future time in perfect harmony and happiness. But is this book really a door to that diamond world? To that emptiness? How is it a door to emptiness? For the answer to that, let's review the pen and the 2 husbands in the kitchen very briefly. Okay. Everybody good? Let me see if there is something in the chat. Okay. Good. The pen, one more time. I don't have a pen. Okay. You hold up a pen to just about any human and ask them, what is this? They say, it's a pen, because they see a pen. This is very important and actually very relevant right now. You see how in some schools of thought of Buddhism, the thing you see is what it exists. So to perceive something is connected to something existing. We can talk more about it, but it's very interesting because you see, it has implications. If you see something with a valid perception, then it means it exists, or you perceive it. Just be careful because remember we study all the different senses and all that. But anyways, just leaving that as a cookie cooking in the oven. Okay. Show the same color stick to a dog and they don't say anything. They just grab it in the jaws and start chewing. To them, it's a chew toy. Which one is right, the human or the dog? Both, of course. Both perceptions are valid and they both work. That's another thing. Some schools of thought in Pramana say that define the object by the function it performs. Another cookie on the oven. Okay, they both work. One of us can write a letter. One of us can enjoy a good chew. Set the color stick on the kitchen table and ask both the human and the dog to leave the room. Nobody is left in the room. What's on the table? Nothing yet. And that potential is what emptiness is. Easy. If the human comes back into the room first, then the stick becomes a pen. If the dog comes back into the room first, then the stick becomes a chew toy. Let's say the obvious. The pen or the chew toy must somehow be coming from us. How the pen is coming from us is that as we come back into the room and approach the stick on the table, a mental image pops up in our mind. When we reach the side of the table and look down, this image gets laid down on top of the parts of the pen, stick, shape, and color, and the pen is created. And and a pen is created. As we can easily confirm with our own experience, the pen that we create with our mental picture is real. So yeah, remember the word real can be sensitive, but I like it. And I like that Geshe is using it. My classical argument is like, how can something exist if it's not real? Something like that, I don't remember. But just remember that real can mean in some contexts, real can mean self-existence, but in other contexts, real can mean the way that actually things exist. So just be mindful about it. You can use a dirty strategy in debate with this word sometimes, I guess. It's just fun. We can write with it, even write a book about what is really going on. And that book will be real. And someone could translate it into other languages and publish it for everyone to read. But now check it out. Geshe says, where is that book coming from? So it's like to say like I don't know, let's say I have a bell here. Look, and this bell is coming from our karmic seeds. Therefore, the bell that it's coming from our karmic seeds is real. It exists. Look, tin, I hope you can hear it. So it's real because it exists, because it's the one that actually, I'll say, is actually here and it's real. But the bell that I think is coming from itself, that doesn't even exist. But that doesn't mean that the bell doesn't exist. It just means that the bell that it's coming from my seeds, yes, it exists. The bell that it's not coming from my seeds and it's coming from itself, that doesn't exist. But the bell exists, you see? But also you can say the bell doesn't exist because you have to ask, okay, which bell are you talking about? And that's why we have the two husbands in the kitchen. It's the same. The bell in this case is also similar example to the husband. Does the husband exist? I guess the right question is which one. But if you don't ask the question, which one, then whatever answer you give can be defended in a debate. You can argue the husband doesn't exist and win the debate. You can also argue the husband does exist and win the debate. I think it's because the 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 key, I don't know, the main thing there is to ask which husband. Why is it important to know about the pen? How does that helps all of us to have a better life? Well, we take the pen to the kitchen. The wife was a high-powered, very busy job. Has a high-powered, very busy job. She also has a husband and two kids. On Monday, maybe she gets a little stressed out and the kids start jumping on their bed. She yells at them a little bit. The kids hear her yell, but she also hears herself yell. When her mind processes her own words, the processing process naturally leaves an impression on her mind, like a thumb pressing into a piece of soft clay. The mental thumbprint left behind by the yelling we can call a mental seed. And that is exactly what the word karma, so often misunderstood, really means. The kind of mental thumbprint is where the image of a pen popped out of as we approach the table, creating a real pen out of real parts laying on the table. Now, where will this mom's seats open? We'll find out. On Friday, it's nice, right? Because there is no translation, so I can speak as whatever pace. Yay! Nah, just kidding. Thank you, translators. On Friday, it could just as well be he. Oh, yeah. So I guess, yeah, the two husbands in the kitchen could mean also the two wives in the kitchen or whatever. Just an example. Okay. On Friday, it could as well be he, comes home from a hard day at work, looking forward to a hug from her husband. She opens the door to the kitchen and immediately, for no reason at all, he turns and yells at her. The yelling at the kid's mental imprint seat has opened, and a yelling image has flown out and settled on the parts of the husband, just like what happened with the pen. If the if the lady understands what's going on, she realizes that her yelling husband comes from her yelling at the kids early in the week. From that mental seat, And just like the pen, the yelling husband is real. So she makes herself a promise to plan better mental seeds next week. I think this is really great. And we can find our own situations in life when we are falling into these kind of cycles. If the lady doesn't understand what's going on, she sees a totally different husband in front of her. He appears to be upset through no fault of her own. Maybe he had a hard day at work. Maybe he's just hungry and grumpy. That hungry, grumpy hobby in her mind, the one that doesn't come from her mental seats, is actually just a figment of her imagination. That husband doesn't really exist, couldn't really exist any more than the stick on the table can be penned before the human walks back into the room. And please don't forget, we already proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the stick cannot be a pen before that. The fact that this imaginary husband cannot and never did really exist is another form of emptiness. Nobody to get upset at, ever. Happy life forever. Wow, that's really I mean, it does has a lot of implication. That's really cool. The whole purpose of the book in front of you right now is to get us to that place. We are going to work very hard on understanding how those mental pictures that pop out of those mental seeds really work. And we are going to get very clear just what that husband who has never there really looks like. Meaning we're gonna understand the gaksha very well. Yay. And now of course, the introduction keeps going. It's like 50 pages. Training in clear thinking. Look. All the topics, the many topics that are contained in the book. 5, 8, 9. What's up next? Then Geshe goes into history of the tradition, final collected topics, this history. Look, it's 52 pages. Now, this text, you can find it. It's in the Google Drive of these sessions. I often share the link in the chat. So if you're interested or if you don't have the book, but you want to do some reading time to time, feel free and just use it. For now, we stop here. It's just here. We finish the two husbands and we stop in training in clear thinking. Now, if somebody has questions or want to comment upon it, you're welcome. This is similar to what we were doing before. I don't know if some of you remember a few years ago, like 5 or 6, we used to have this thing called the reading club. Once a week, we will choose a text and read together and then comment upon it. There will be special guests, teachers or different people, and we will talk about it. So we can do a little bit of that. Yes, Ola has a question. Excuse me, eh?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, thank you. I have a question. Maybe somebody of you know if I explain this pen story and husband in the kitchen story, but the person asks me, what is the difference? Maybe it's just my perception. I perceive the object as a pen, and the dog perceives the object as a chew toy. So I may, in the second story, I may just perceive the husband as at me, but with a calm reaction and with angry reaction. So what's the difference? Maybe it's not me who created the yelling husband, but it's me who creates the reaction. So what should I answer to that person? Because this is two different things. We create a person and we react in a different way. Thank you.
Yes. And I think it's similar to what I was saying at first, that for me, sometimes it's difficult to prove to myself that the object itself, in its most basic foundation, it's also coming from seeds. I think that's really difficult, and that's the highest of the highest schools. That's Madhyamika Prasangika. And the label, I think that's what you're talking about, the reaction or the qualities that we are talking about. It's easier, and that's more like labels, and those are like lower schools. For example, it's easier for me to agree that, okay, you like this painting, I don't like this painting. So the beauty or the quality of liking is coming from me. That's more easy. But then when we go to the painting itself, the actual frame and the materials and the colors and all that you are creating, that's more difficult. Now, my suggestion, no, there has to be, but my suggestion is also to understand that we are limited. And to me, sometimes it's honest to say, look, you're right, it could be the case. Buddhism says that actually even those things come up, but that's why we are studying and that's what we are learning. And I think it's okay to sometimes say, I haven't understand that yet, and I'm still studying and learning and trying to prove how that's the case. But an argument you can say that maybe it's kind of guiding us in that direction is like the argument of parts, you see, because you can say, okay, so in order to see a whole, you need to see parts because wholes have parts. And traditionally, what Geshe says is when you look at an object, it's impossible for the eye to really look at the whole. You are detecting many different parts and you're putting it together. So I think your question is going, it could be going in two different directions. One is about perception and the other one is going into existence. If we dig really deep, we're gonna see how there's a deep connection between perception and existence, even in the definition too. But before going there, I will just say, okay, whatever. Does the husband has parts? Yes. Okay. So your mind is putting those parts together and creating an archetype. And maybe what you can try to do is to talk about the movie or the story that it's being played in your mind, the way you're interpreting the whole situation. Because even the archetype or the idea husband is like a human concept, you see? Most likely an animal like a dog doesn't even has the idea of what is a husband. Oh, my husband is yelling at me. I don't know if this is something that is actually answering your question. You let me know if this you feel this is giving you ideas or not. But the at the end of the day, it's about going deeper and I don't know this word in English. In Spanish is desmenuzar, meaning tearing apart smaller and smaller parts of things. Mm, I don't know. Maybe I need to think more about it. But is this any helpful or do you want to clarify anything? Maybe not. Okay, just okay. Whew, so my karma saved me. No, but if you want, we can go deeper on this. I think is nice and important to address these questions. So later I'll ask you, but if you can type your questions later in the chat, I can give some time, think about it, and see I can find an answer. Because your questions in general, the questions of the group, I mean, it will help us too. It will help us as a group. It will help me to understand more. So, and I can ask people who may know more and collect ideas. So thank you, Ola. We can keep going with this question if you share it in the chat. Yay. Okay, thank you as well. Anybody else would like to add or say? No? But yeah, it's a great question. How to prove that it's not only the label on qualities that we are creating, but also the almost like the physical thing as well. And again, we have different levels of understanding because mind only will have a way to explain that what we are seeing is actually projection of our mind there, out there. Mind only doesn't believe in outer objects, but Madhyamika does. It's interesting. And it's funny that only the lowest of schools and the highest of schools believe in outer objects, but the way they explain them is different. The lower schools, including Pramana, Abhidharma schools, they say there are objects, and the ultimate existence is about things that possess atoms and moments of existence. That's ultimate. And Madhyamika Prasangika says that the ultimate is actually emptiness, the absence of that smallest piece of matter or moment of existence. So, anyways, but Madhyamika Prasangika, the highest of schools, says that your seeds are so powerful that they project outer objects. One school below, in mind only, they don't think, they say it's a illusion to think that those objects are outside of you. They are actually just like a movie happening inside your mind. But Madhyamika Prasangika says no, says there is actually such a thing as an outer object. It's just that you planted the seeds to be in a reality where outer objects exist. And I like that. I really like it. Makes me feel very comfortable knowing that, yes, it's like the cop over there is not only inside my mind. Yes, he's there and I can approach and all that. But at the same time, understanding that all that is just like it's just like an impossible possibility being real because the kind of seats we have, if that makes sense. Uh, what I wanted to do also is do a quick review on general Pramana topics. Let me see how's going. Okay, I'm gonna share with you. And also feel free, you can tap in the chat or comment, ask questions, try to answer questions if you have ideas. Uh, okay, this is just a quick catch up on general topics of Pramana. Context because we took a long break. So, but the idea is like this book, first is the 52 pages of introduction and context, and it talks about the lineage and other things. And then the actual book starts with debates. It's written in a debate format. And the very first debates are talking about colors. And the very first debate is called red and white. And then Geshe used to encourage us a lot, like, why red and white? And to think about it, I think personally that a lot of the ideas and discoveries, realizations that we get through studying come when we question ourselves and try to understand into a deeper level. So it's always good, especially in Pramana topics, to keep asking questions. What about this? What about that? What if this? What if that? So, Geshe was encouraging, why red and white? Why do you think this is the very first topic? And there are multiple reasons to explain or to answer this question. And some of them you can come up with yourself. It's not like there is only one reason and this is the correct answer. You can come up with even more answers and possible reasons. So this is the picture that I was trying to use to explain this idea. In the very first debates, you will see, and we will do again the debates, because 1 year ago, about a year ago, when we started these sessions, we did a few debates, but we didn't have much context. So now that we have some more, how say, familiarity with these topics, I think we'll have a different experience when we go through the debates. But this idea is to explain this, that colors and shapes also, but in this case, colors, are something that we interact with all day. Sometimes we don't take them for granted. We are not so aware that, oh yeah, I'm perceiving colors, I'm perceiving shapes. They say for humans, the predominant sense is sight. So it's the thing that we use the most. We are very visual. For example, for dogs, you may have heard that the sense they use the most is smelling. But for us, it's sight, and then colors play a big role of on our daily life. Let's say if we can prove that even colors like red and white are empty, and these colors are things that are all over around us, we will be able to prove that emptiness is all around us all the time. And this is an example. They say, like, for example, like a fish swimming in the ocean. Uh, the fish is not very aware that water is all over around, because the reality of the fish has always been like that. It's swimming on emptiness, it's all around, but the fish is not so aware of it. It's just the way things are. And they say it's very similar for us. We are swimming in an ocean of emptiness all the time, like the computer we have in front of us, my own body, everything that it's, I don't know, here in the room where I am. I'm swimming in an ocean of emptiness, but I'm not realizing it. I'm just so used to it, and I don't pay attention to it, and I'm not aware of it. I just live my life. But this book, studying these topics, will help us to realize we are swimming and surrounded by emptiness. So that's one of the reasons. Now, this is a very interesting idea that Geshe keeps encouraging us to do, is try to find the magic in everything you do, like with kind of this, or everything that happens in your life. This is an idea that actually is also preparing us for Diamond Way. You know, this year, Geshe is going to start doing some empowerments. If you're interested on that also, I hear some empowerments are going to happen in Dragon's Head in Rimrock, Arizona. And just so you know, it may be, there's no date yet, but it may be on late summer or autumn or something like that. So if you have the chance, if you want to be there, just so you know, maybe start getting ready for a trip or something. Maybe there are other ways later to catch up, but if you can, if you're interested, you can try to start planning. So, but yeah, is this idea to ask ourselves if it's true that enlightened beings are omniscients and they can access past, present, and future directly, then there is a chance that they create a plan for us. Because another, you see the qualities of the enlightened being, there are three classical. There are many, but different sets of lists. One of these lists is like they love us a lot, they know about us, and they have the power to help us. Is the three qualities. So if they know about us because they have omniscience and they have love for us, they really want to help us, and they can do something about it, then it's very likely that they have planted, I don't know how to say, they have planned events and people and situations and places in our life that are going to help us to keep developing. And Geshe often says that the Dharma is very much like that, that it was designed specifically for us at this time in our lives. So when we read, for example, I don't know, about red and white, um, there has to be a deeper reason. It's like something specifically designed for us, and like that, right? Geshe say that there are in Diamond Way there are no coincidences. You just go to a random class and all of a sudden the teacher says, "Oh, I don't know why, but I feel like today we should do Lojong." That happened to me recently. Like it was totally unexpected. I was supposed to just go out to a language class, and the teacher started like, "Okay, I don't know why. I feel like today we should read the 8 verses on developing a good heart." And I was like, "Okay, sure. I guess I've been a little too intense, or I don't know." But then we did, and okay, great. And you see, just being open to this possibility that maybe there is something special that I can learn from this situation. And that opens up the possibility for so many things. There is also, they say that this text of Pramana, it's one of the most important things that can help us, yes, to see emptiness directly, as Geshe often says, but also to be able to practice higher teachings. Geshe has said many times that um, something on the lines that the better you are at clear thinking, the better Diamond Way practitioner you can be. And then there is this misunderstanding. Some people say that once you go into Diamond Way teachings, you have to leave your logic behind. And I say no, it's a misunderstanding. I think it's a total misunderstanding. What happened is that logic evolves into an even bigger, how to say, um, um, bigger range of possibilities, but it's super logical. I don't know how to explain. If you are really well trained in logic, you will find out how it's because of logic that the Diamond Way teachings can work. It's just not conventional logic. It's not logic that works in ordinary world. But if you are well trained, you will see that actually all this magic is perfectly suitable with a clear understanding. For example, just starting with, if you really understand that what brings magic and happiness into your life, it's your kindness, and the better you understand emptiness, that's perfect logic. You want to see angels, just start treating people nicely, and you'll see. Even Jetson Kappa says that even for people with no empowerment, if you really keep your 10 good deeds very well, you will start having magical experiences in your life, like Diamond Way experiences. So this is kind of logic. Like, oh yeah, I want to make contact with angels, I want to meet them, and but if you have good logic, you'll see, okay, I have to be nicer, I have to do my meditation, I have to do this. So don't let them tell you otherwise. Another thing, important thing we will learn and talk about it, it's about these contradictions. How if something is one thing, it cannot be another thing simultaneously. We have talked about this many times. Simultaneously for the same person at the same time. You add clausulas, I don't know. You add more details into the statement in order to make it accurate. Just one sec. I need to blow my nose. Yes, and then there is this idea that if this is a pen, can it be a chew toy? And it's tricky as well because you can say yes. For whom? For the dog, yes. For the can be a chew toy. For the human, can be a pen. But then I say, okay. If can this stick be a chew toy and a pen at the same time for the same person? And you can be, oh well, okay, maybe for the same person, yes, but for the same person at the same time, no. Because you see, The example would be like, can this movie be a beautiful movie and a very bad movie for the same person? Yes, sure. Maybe when you were a kid, you didn't like a movie, and then you grow up, you change, your seats change, and then it's different. Yes. But at the same time, no. Anyways, you add steps into it to find what it's about contradiction. But why is this relevant? Because there are many super important contradictions in our life. One of the most important ones is, can this thing be coming from me and coming at me at the same time? Well, not really. If you are arguing with the husband, let's say in the example, either you have to decide, is this person coming from my seats, or is this person not coming from my seats? And it can be only one. It's either one or the other. And if you decide it's not coming from your seats, okay, you can fight, you can argue, you can try, keep yelling harder, maybe you win, who knows? But if you decide the person is coming from your seats, it immediately cancels the other option, the other possibility. But then you have to take responsibility. Okay, fine, it's coming from my seats. How am I going to handle the situation? And I truly believe it's not, in practice, it's not about totally dismissing, but about taking responsibility, like understanding very well, like, okay, what's the nature of the situation? What's the nature of the person? How can I handle it right now, right here? And how can I handle it in the future to stop the cycle of these problems? Like, how can I carry on so in the future I don't find myself in similar situations or with similar conditions? So that's one of the reasons why contradiction. Another very important contradiction, it's like, in Diamond Way, really, do we live in an ordinary world, or do we live in an extraordinary magical world? And this resolution or this decision, it also can be built up using logic and clear thinking. Why? Same thing we were talking about. Okay, is such a thing as omniscience possible? Is such a thing as, for that we have to establish what existence means and all these previous steps. But then, is the existence of a person who loves all beings possible? That you also establish with logic. Is a possibility for a person like this to be able to emanate and to project in our lives if we have the seeds for it? So you see, you start building up your logic, and that could come you to decide, okay, yes, then it's possible that I am surrounded by undercover angels and they are around trying to help me. It's possible. And then, but if that's possible, then it cancels the other option of that's not possible. You see, and then you have to choose, and they cannot coexist at the same time for the same person. Contradictions. It will also help us studying these topics just to, I would say, be kinder and be more understanding that people have all kinds of interests and likes and dislikes, and they are real for them. This was just an example that the things that Adam do and I like to do, and how I was saying, like, no, it was just a kind of a joke, but like I was saying, like, the best musical instrument is the guitar, and Adam will say, no, it's the drums, and I will say the best board sport is surfing, and he'll say, no, it's skiing, and the best place to be is a joke, really, but just an example. I was saying the best place for vacation is Mexico. He'll be, no, the best place is the Colorado forest. But just to see that we were both saying a truth, our truth. None of us were lying, but at the same time, how can you be saying different things and be saying the truth? It's because our seeds are projecting different realities, and if we understand that, we can be more loving and understanding with people, and just accept and don't push too hard. Like, okay, fine, you like whatever, right? You like skiing more than surfing. We can still be friends, although I don't agree with you, but anyways, these topics help us to get our minds right, to be more um, accepting and calm about differences, are inclusive. Yeah, and this is to me is a picture to at the end, Pramana help us also to be, how say, at peace, to reduce our negative emotions a lot, because we understand these differences, we understand how reality works, how to be kinder and accepting and loving and wise, and use it to treat people like that. And that reduces our problems in life in an immediate way and midterm and long term as well. But the joke that I like to do with this picture is like, next time somebody doesn't like you, just feel compassion for them because they have very lousy seats and they don't have the good seats to see how an amazing person you are. It's just a joke, kind of a joke. So, anyways, I'm gonna stop here. There's more to go. We will review this. I just showed you the pictures, definition of Pramana, what is it for, how can it work. The pen, but in a different context. You'll see later the three kinds of apramana, incorrect or invalid perceptions, and what can cause them in this school number 2. The three kinds of pramana: direct perception, logical deduction, lung, and then the debates. But we'll review that later. There is only a few more minutes. We can do two things. We can do either debate number 1, oops, sorry, or we can just, I don't know, chat and talk and do a question or comments, whatever you prefer. Let me see who's around. What do you feel? Maybe you can type in the chat. Go to TT class to interpret. TT mean teacher training? Ah, okay, great, for 5 houses. That's really great. That's why Gina says she could not come. Okay, yeah, please feel free. Nobody was translating and nobody was recording. You can go. And thank you so much. See you next time. If anybody else wants to. Okay, 3 options. I'll let you choose. You can type in the chat. You can put 1 if you want to do the first debate. You can put 2 if you want questions or comments. You can put 3 if you want to finish class 5 minutes earlier and be happy. Geshe sometimes says that that's a great thing to do. He say one of his teachers used to say, as an advice in Princeton, I think, learn the name of your students and let them leave early sometimes, and they will like the class. Maybe we can do that, because now I'm thinking, unless you have questions or comments, but I think 5 minutes will be very short to really do a debate. Yeah, okay, let's go early. There is a Tatiana there, but I don't know if it's Tatiana, my roommate, or another Tatiana. But anyways, I see Lyubov is there. Janet, Huang, thank you so much for coming. Next week, Adam will be here as well. We can keep going with a quick review, and then we start addressing the debates. And I'm sure now that we have more context, it will kind of give us more. Okay, I wish you very happy weekend. Enjoy, have fun, rest, or use it well as you decide. See you next time then. Hey, thank you so much. Bye.